If you have found your way here today, it is likely because you are exhausted. Not just physically tired from the hours of the day, but deeply, spiritually exhausted. I want you to take a slow, deep breath right now. Drop your shoulders. Loosen your jaw. For the next few minutes, there is nowhere you need to rush to, no one you need to impress, and absolutely nothing you need to fight against. You are safe here. This space is a refuge from the constant, deafening noise of the world outside. I know the weight you are carrying. I know how heavy the subject of money has become in your life. Society has turned finances into a battlefield. Every time you open your phone, there is someone screaming at you to work harder, to wake up earlier, to hustle until you collapse, to crush your goals, and to conquer the market. They use the language of war to talk about money. And because of this, without even realizing it, you have spent years living in a state of financial fight or flight. You wake up with a tight chest, you look at your bills with a knot in your stomach, and you feel a quiet, persistent guilt whenever you spend a single dollar on yourself. You feel like you are constantly swimming upstream, fighting a vicious current just to keep your head above the water. And no matter how hard you paddle, the shore never seems to get any closer. It is completely natural that you feel drained. You were not built to live in a perpetual state of financial panic. The modern world profits from your exhaustion. It feeds on your anxiety. When you are tired and stressed, you are easily convinced that the only way out is to run faster on the exact same treadmill that is breaking your spirit. But I am here to offer you a different perspective, a softer, older wisdom. What if the reason you are struggling is not because you aren't trying hard enough, but because you are trying too hard? In the ancient philosophy of Taoism, there is a core principle known as Wu Wei. It is often translated as non-action or effortless action. But it does not mean laziness. It means acting in accordance with the natural flow of life, rather than forcing things to happen through sheer, exhausting willpower. Think of water. Water never fights the rocks in a stream. It doesn't struggle. It simply flows around the obstacles, finding the path of least resistance. And yet, over time, it is the soft water that cuts through the hard stone. For years, you have tried to manage your life with the energy of fire, burning yourself out, pushing, striving, and forcing. Today, we are going to learn how to manage your life, and specifically your money, with the energy of water. We are going to talk about something beautiful called quiet wealth. Quiet wealth is the exact opposite of what the internet tries to sell you. It is not a flashy sports car. It is not shouting your net worth to strangers. Quiet wealth is the profound, unshakable peace of knowing that your resources are aligned with your true needs. It is the financial equivalent of a deep, restful sleep. It is money that grows in the background, slowly and exponentially, like a bamboo forest that thickens in silence. Quiet wealth doesn't demand your constant attention or your physical health. It is built on a foundation of serenity, not stress. To reach this state of effortless prosperity, we must stop looking at our bank accounts as scoreboards of our worth and start seeing them as pools of vital energy. When your money is chaotic, your mind is chaotic. When your money flows with purpose, your mind becomes as clear as a still pond reflecting the morning sky. I want to ask you a simple question, and I want you to be very gentle with yourself when you answer it. Tell me in the comments below, whenever you feel ready, when was the last time you looked at your finances and felt a sense of peace rather than a wave of anxiety? There is no shame in admitting that it has been a long time. Acknowledging the pain is the first step toward releasing it. In order to stop swimming against the current, we need a method that does not feel like punishment. We do not need strict, suffocating budgets that make you feel guilty for existing. We need a practice of mindfulness. We need a way to return our money to the natural flow of our lives. This brings us to a beautiful, understated Japanese tradition. It is a discreet habit that has quietly built profound wealth for generations, far away from the noise of Wall Street. It is a method of putting your life in order, not with a spreadsheet, but with a pen, a piece of paper, and a moment of quiet reflection. In the next part of our time together, we will sit down and look at the art of the Kakeibo. We will see how this simple, mindful practice can instantly dissolve the anxiety around your wealth and align your spending with the concept of Wu Wei. Allow the current to carry you forward. The struggle can end today. Think about the last time you checked your bank account or opened a budgeting app on your phone. Notice what happened to your body in that exact moment. Your breath likely became shallow, your shoulders tensed. A subtle, cold wave of dread may have washed over you. Modern financial tools are built on a framework of cold mathematics, guilt, and restriction. They treat your life like a corporation that needs to be ruthlessly audited and downsized. They look at your habits with a judgmental glare, telling you what you cannot do, what you must cut out, and how far behind you are. It is an exhausting way to live. When you manage your money through a lens of fear and scarcity, you are constantly fighting against yourself. You are resisting the current, and that resistance is the root of your financial fatigue. But there is a quieter, much gentler way. In Japan, there is a tradition that dates back over a century. Created not by Wall Street bankers, but by a pioneering journalist named Mottainai. She wanted to give everyday people, especially women managing households, a way to find peace and autonomy in their daily lives. She introduced the concept of the Kakeibo. Translated literally, it simply means a household financial ledger. But to view it merely as a ledger is to miss its profound beauty. The Kakeibo is not a spreadsheet. It is a philosophy of mindful living. It is a quiet conversation you have with yourself about what you truly value. When we look through the lens of Eastern wisdom, money is not seen as a cold, inanimate object. It is viewed as a form of energy. It is a representation of your time, your effort, and your life force, your chi. When you spend money, you are directing your life force towards something. Therefore, tracking your money is not about restricting your joy. It is about honoring your energy. It is about ensuring that your life force is flowing into things that nourish you, rather than draining away into things that leave you empty. To practice Kakeibo is to engage in the art of Wu Wei. You do not force a budget onto your life. You observe the flow of your life and gently align your resources with it. The practice is incredibly simple, and that simplicity is where its power lies. You do not need a complex app or a degree in finance. You only need a physical notebook and a pen. In our hyper-digital world, the act of writing by hand is a radical act of slowing down. When you type numbers into a screen, they are fleeting and abstract. When you sit in silence, holding a pen, and write down a number on a piece of paper, you are anchoring your attention in the present moment. You are telling your mind that this is a safe, deliberate space. The Kakeibo method asks you to sit down at the beginning of the month. Perhaps you make yourself a warm cup of tea. You clear your table. You take a deep breath. And then, without any judgment, without any harshness toward yourself, you ask 4 simple questions. These questions are not an interrogation. They are gentle reflections, much like looking at the calm surface of a pond to see what lies beneath. The first question is, how much money do you have available? This is the act of acceptance. You look at your income and your fixed necessary expenses. You do not wish it were more. You do not feel shame if it is less than you hoped. You simply observe the water level of your pond. It is what it is. Acceptance brings immediate peace. The second question is, how much would you like to save? In the Western world, saving is often framed as a sacrifice, a punishment where you deny yourself pleasure today for a distant tomorrow. but in the spirit of quiet wealth. Saving is an act of deep self-love. When you save, you are not taking money away from yourself. You are giving your future self the gift of peace. You are building a quiet reservoir of security so that when the storms of life arrive, you do not have to panic. You set a gentle, realistic intention for this reservoir. The third question is, how much are you actually spending? Throughout the month, you write down your expenses. Kakeibo encourages you to categorize them softly into 4 pillars. Needs, such as food and shelter. Wants, which are the things you enjoy but could live without. Culture, which feeds your soul, like books, art, or a meaningful experience. And the unexpected. As you write these down, you simply notice where the water is flowing. There is no right or wrong. There is only awareness. I want you to pause for a moment and reflect. Tell me in the comments below, without any self-judgment. What is one small thing you spend money on that truly nourishes your soul? And what is one thing you buy that leaves you feeling empty? We all have both. Recognizing the difference is the beginning of wisdom. The fourth and final question of the Kakeibo is asked at the end of the month. How can you improve? Notice the word improve, not how can you punish yourself, not how can you cut everything out. How can you gently adjust the sails of your life to catch the wind more naturally? If you spent too much energy on things that did not bring you joy, you simply decide to let the water flow differently next month. By practicing Kakeibo, you remove the heavy armor of financial stress. You stop fighting the numbers. You sit in quiet observation of your life. And in that quietness, something miraculous happens. Your spending naturally begins to align with your true values. The impulsive desires that are born out of exhaustion start to fade away. You begin to build wealth not by agonizing over every penny, but by moving in harmony with your own nature. In the next part of our time together, we will talk about why we buy things we do not need, and how a profound Japanese concept can heal the emotional emptiness that drains our wealth. Let us sit together and look at a very delicate truth. I want to talk about why we spend money when we are tired. Think about a Friday evening after a grueling, demanding week. Your energy is entirely depleted. You are sitting on your couch, staring at the glowing screen of your phone, mindlessly scrolling. An advertisement appears. It shows a product that promises to make your life easier, or prettier, or more comfortable. In that moment of profound exhaustion, you do not actually want the object. What you want is relief. You want a reward for having survived the heavy demands of the week. You click a button, and for a brief, fleeting moment, there is a small spark of dopamine, a sense of anticipation. You have bought something, and society tells you that this means you are treating yourself well. But let us observe what happens next. A few days pass. The package arrives at your door. You open the cardboard box. You hold the item in your hands, and almost immediately, the magic evaporates. The spark is gone. The object is just an object, and your underlying exhaustion is still there, exactly as it was before. Only now, your bank account is lighter, and a quiet sense of regret settles into your chest. This cycle is incredibly common, and I want you to know that it is not a sign of weakness. It is not a failure of character. It is simply the symptom of a mind that is desperately thirsty, trying to drink from a mirage. When we are disconnected from the natural flow of our lives, we use consumption as a temporary bandage for our spiritual fatigue. We buy things to fill the quiet, aching spaces inside of us. But trying to heal exhaustion with impulsive spending is like trying to put out a fire by pouring dry leaves onto it. It only creates more friction. It is the very opposite of Wu Wei. It is forcing a solution that does not belong. To break this heavy cycle, we do not need harsh discipline. Discipline, in the way the modern world teaches it, often feels like a punishment. Instead of discipline, We need a shift in reverence. In the Japanese culture, there is an ancient, beautiful concept known as Mottainai. It is a word that carries a deep sense of respect and gratitude. Roughly translated, Mottainai expresses a feeling of regret when something is wasted. It is the sorrow of seeing something lose its inherent value because it was not used with intention. But at its deepest philosophical root, Mottainai is tied to the Buddhist belief that all things, whether it is a grain of rice, a drop of water, a piece of clothing, or a dollar bill, have a spirit. They have a history. Energy, time, and natural resources were woven together to bring that object into your hands. When you look at the world through the lens of Mottainai, your entire relationship with money and possessions undergoes a quiet, profound transformation. You stop buying cheap, meaningless things to numb your pain because you recognize that doing so is a waste of the object's potential. And more importantly, a waste of your own vital energy. You realize that your hard-earned money is precious. It is a crystallized form of the hours of your life. To trade the irreplaceable hours of your life for an object that will only gather dust is an act of self-abandonment. Mottainai teaches us to care deeply for what we already have, to repair what is broken, and to acquire only what we truly, deeply intend to honor. Integrating Mottainai with the gentle awareness of the Kakeibo is how you create quiet wealth. Before you make a purchase, you do not ask yourself the anxious question, "Can I afford this?" That question is rooted in scarcity and mathematics. Instead, you take a slow breath and ask yourself, "Will I honor this? Will this object bring true, lasting value into my home? Or is it just a temporary distraction for my tired mind?" When you ask this from a place of stillness, the desire to consume impulsively naturally falls away. You do not have to fight the urge to buy. The urge simply dissolves, like a cloud passing over the moon. You return to the effortless flow of Wu Wei. You find that you are perfectly content sitting in an empty room because the emptiness is no longer a void that needs to be filled. It is a spacious, breathing room for your soul. I invite you to pause and reflect on your own space right now. Look around the room you are in. Tell me in the comments below, with complete gentleness toward yourself. Can you identify one object near you that you bought in a moment of stress or exhaustion, which no longer serves you? Acknowledging this object is not about feeling guilty. It is about waking up. It is about realizing how much lighter your boat could be if you stopped loading it with things you do not need. When you stop bleeding your resources into the void of exhaustion, your money begins to pool. It begins to gather quietly, patiently, in the background of your life. You stop being a consumer of your own energy, and you become a peaceful steward of it. In the final moments of our time together, we will look at how this gentle accumulation creates exponential growth over time. We will see how quiet wealth acts like a deeply rooted tree, providing shade and shelter for the rest of your days, requiring no anxious effort, only the quiet patience of nature. We have walked a quiet path together today. We have looked at how to stop fighting the current through Wu Wei, how to observe our financial energy through the gentle art of Kakeibo, and how to heal the urge to consume through the reverence of Mottainai. Now, we must look at the horizon. We must look at what happens when you string these quiet, peaceful days together over the span of years. This is where we find the true meaning of exponential growth. When the modern financial world speaks of exponential growth, it uses the language of aggressive mathematics. They speak of compounding interest as a machine that you must constantly feed with more hustle, more risk, and more of your precious time. But let us look at exponential growth through the lens of nature. Think of a giant cedar tree in an ancient Japanese forest. You cannot see the tree growing if you stand and stare at it for a day or a month or even a year. It makes no noise. It does not rush. It does not anxiously compare its height to the trees around it. It simply draws water from the soil, takes light from the sun, and expands quietly. Yet, over the decades, that silent, steady accumulation of energy turns a fragile sapling into a massive, immovable pillar that can withstand any storm. Quiet wealth grows exactly like the cedar tree. When you practice Kakeibo, you are simply tending to the soil of your life. By not bleeding your resources into impulse purchases, you allow your money to pool. Month by month, that pool deepens. At first, you might not notice a massive change in your lifestyle, but what you will notice very quickly is a change in your nervous system. As the pool of savings quietly deepens, your financial anxiety begins to evaporate. You realize that if an unexpected expense arises, you do not have to panic. If your job becomes unbearable, you are not trapped. You have built a quiet reservoir of freedom. This drop in stress is the greatest return on investment you will ever experience. Because when you are no longer exhausted by financial panic, your mind becomes clear. A clear mind makes better decisions. It recognizes opportunities that a stressed mind cannot even see. You perform your daily tasks with a sense of grace and ease. Your health improves because you are no longer carrying the crushing weight of survival mode in your shoulders. Your relationships improve because you are truly present, not distracted by the silent math of debt in the back of your head. This holistic elevation of your entire life is true exponential growth. The money in your bank account is simply a reflection of the peace in your spirit. You do not have to be a financial expert to achieve this. You do not have to predict the markets or constantly monitor the news. You only need to be present with your own life. You only need to sit down once a month with your Kakeibo, honor the energy you have been given, and let the river flow where it is meant to flow. The struggle can end right now. You are allowed to step off the battlefield. You are allowed to treat your finances not as a war to be won, but as a garden to be tended. As we part ways today, I want to leave you with a final thought. The world will always try to sell you urgency. It will always try to convince you that you are behind, that you do not have enough, and that you are not enough. When you feel that loud, chaotic pressure building in your chest, I want you to remember the bamboo. Remember the water. Remember that the most powerful forces in nature are often the quietest. If you found a sense of refuge in our time together today, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. This is a space dedicated to finding peace in a loud world. Before you close this video, please leave a comment below. Tell me, what is one simple, free thing in your life right now that makes you feel genuinely rich? Sharing your gratitude helps to quiet the noise for everyone reading it. Drink a glass of water. Rest your eyes. May your wealth be quiet and may your peace be profound.